And now I'm here with Cory Stockton, the lead content designer for World of Warcraft, here to talk a little bit more about Rage of the Firelands and who's going to be joining Ragnaros in this upcoming raid. So Cory, we've heard a little bit about Ragnaros getting retrofitted for this upcoming 4.2 patch. What can you tell us about the people that are going to be joining him?
Well, that's one of the cool things about Firelands, is that it's got a little bit of a retro feel to it, with players getting a chance to fight Ragnaros again, which is one of our most popular raid bosses we've ever had. But he's coming back with a whole new crew of guys for players to fight against. There's going to be 7 total bosses in the raid, and I think what's cool about it is we've got a lot of variety. Okay. We've got a spider boss, we've got a flying firehawk, we've got a magma giant, and one of the really cool new things is we've actually got a completely new kind of faction that's come to be specifically for Firelands, which is the Druids of the Flame. And what's cool about this is it actually uses one of our really popular characters, Fandral Staghelm, ends up being the leader of this faction. So for most of the players, they might have met him before in questing and they've known about him, but they're going to have this ultimate reveal.
Oh, okay, interesting. So players have some twists to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about this is there's a lot of story that goes along with Firelands Raid, as well as the loot and encounters and everything else that players are involved with.
Because everybody needs the shinies in addition to that story.
Exactly. We all know what's most important in the end. So one of the things we wanted to do is try to get some more vanity items. Okay. In general, we always have items that their quality goes up, so they're stronger. But here we wanted to do something that just felt really cool. So a couple examples on Fandral Staghelm himself, he drops a staff that actually allows the player to convert into his feral forms. And what's cool is these feral forms are completely brand new for the raid here. He's got a magma cat form. Looks really awesome, and players will be able to get the staff, convert into that at any time. Another example would be Ragnaros. One of his most famous item drops he's always had has been Sulfuras. So we went ahead and upgraded, created a whole new model for Sulfuras, and it's gonna end up dropping off of Ragnaros in both the heroic mode and in the normal mode.
Oh, wow, awesome. So we'll see a bunch of people smashing around with Rag's hammer.
For sure. You'll definitely be able to see these people that you know for sure that they've cleared Firelands and they've made it through just by looking at their items.
Good, and prestige is important.
It is. It's one of the biggest things in WoW, so we wanted to make sure that people, felt fulfilled by the items, not just from the quality level, but on that vanity side too.
And now moving into the Firelands raid, I've heard that players are going to be able to choose the first encounter, so there will be a little bit of a different start to this one.
They are. That's one of the things that we always kind of like to play with a little bit, is having an encounter that's non-linear versus linear. We wanted to make sure that players had a little bit of choice here. So when they come in, they have an option to do any of those first 4 bosses. The way the zone is actually laid out is there's a bridge leading to Sulfuron Keep, which is where Ragnaros is. So when you start out, you're in an open outdoor area. You can kind of wander around and find those 4 different bosses and fight them in whatever order you want before you head into the keep to take on Ragnaros.
And for players delving into this new raid, they're going to have a lot of new content to try to digest, a lot of fights to learn. Now, I hear that there's a tool being added in 4.2 to help players tackle this content. Can you tell us a little more about that?
The tool is called the Encounter Journal, and it's something we've actually been working on for a long time. We're really passionate about it. And it's essentially, you can kind of look at it as when we redid the quest map for players, and we kind of gave them an idea of where to go and what to do, but we didn't give them all the exact details. Right. That's what we're looking at with the Encounter Journal, is it's not a strategy guide for the individual encounter fights, but it's more of an information for you, almost like a wiki a little bit. Okay. If you were to take one of these bosses, let's take Fandral Staghelm, for example, you would see all of his individual abilities and what they do, but we wouldn't give you the strategy on, like, say, how to avoid it,
right,
or maybe how to plan. Exactly.
Like that, sure.
But we'd at least let you know that he has an AE ability, and it's going to do this. How you deal with it is up to you. What's cool about that is that's only one part of the Encounter Journal. The other part of it is that it lists all the loot. And that's what we found is probably the main thing when players want to know something about a boss fight or an encounter. They leave WoW and go to the web to try to find that information. Right. We really would love for them to stay in the game and be able to have that available right there, similar to what happened with the quest log once we made that change. Yeah. So now players are going to be able to see all the loot from every boss. They can sort the loot by 10 player, 25 player. You can even sort it by your class. So you see that loot just specifically for you. You can link it to friends, and you can do this from anywhere. You don't have to be in the instance to have accessibility to this. You could use it standing in Stormwind and Orgrimmar, wherever you want.
Well, that's perfect. That'll help all those players that have that last slot to fill, find out exactly where they need to go.
Yeah, that's part of the point, is that I think it'll kind of instigate some sharing between players too. When they're in a guild, like hey, I'm really looking for this item. Maybe we could get people together to fight this guy because we know it's on this boss specifically.
All right, well, that sounds great, Cory. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.